Own the Road with Kelly and Bob is brought to you by Mueller Metal Roofs and Buildings. Made in America, made to last. Coming up on this episode...
I didn't grow up saying, oh, I want an elephant, but now it's like I can't even not think about elephants.
Hi, we're Kelly
and Bob Phillips, and we're on the perpetual road trip of America's back roads,
where the journey is always the destination. Hi, and thanks for joining us for this episode of Own the Road with Kelly and Bob. I'm Kelly Phillips.
And I'm Bob Phillips. Okay, Kelly, I think we should point out that your Texas accent has not gotten any thicker. You are actually saying the word own instead of the word on when you identify the name of this show.
Yeah, it's just a one-letter change. We were originally on the road with Kelly and Bob, and now we are own the road with Kelly and Bob. It's just our way of saying we are fully embracing this ongoing journey around the U.S., owning every mile and inviting you, our listeners, to own your portion of our journeys as well.
Well, it makes sense to me. I'm all for it. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
What elephant in what room?
How soon you forget. The elephant we met just the other day in the town of Hugo, Oklahoma.
We're going to start with one of our divas. Her name is Del Rita, and she is a triple threat. She's a musician, she's an artist, she's an athlete. She kind of does it all. And most important, she teaches us all about the very critically endangered Asian elephant. So, in order for Del Rita to come out, she likes an audience, and she definitely likes attention. So on the count of three, we're going to say, welcome Del Rita, as loud as we can, and hopefully she's going to come out. So on the count of three, 1, 2, 3, welcome Del Rita. Let's see if we've done a good enough job to have it. Yeah, we have. All right, here comes Miss Del Rita in all her amazingness.
And with that lengthy intro, an 8,700-pound Asian elephant named Del Rita lumbered into the indoor arena where we were sitting.
Del Rita is a real celebrity in this little southeastern Oklahoma burg that is home to an organization known as the Endangered Ark. It's an elephant sanctuary, the second largest Asian elephant preserve in America.
And at the helm of this aging elephant's home is Karen Olmos, a girl from Texas who never saw herself doing anything like this.
I grew up in the Houston area, but the suburbs of Houston. It was like I thought I was in a little city until I lived in Hugo. But I'm more connected to the Caribbean. My parents are from the British West Indies, and then we were born in the Virgin Islands. I got out of high school, and I decided I was going to go to TCU. I was matched with my college roommate, who is the granddaughter of the founders of the Ark. And we are now to this day still best friends. That was my draw to basically my life now.
So what, you are probably asking, is a herd of elephants doing in Oklahoma? Well, it turns out to be related to the place where the elephants are living. Hugo, it seems, is also called Circus City, because this town is where a number of circuses spent their winters when they weren't out on the road going from town to town with their tent shows.
And it all started with a couple named DR and Isla Miller.
The Millers, they actually had a circus, and it actually started with DR's father and his brother. But DR was the one that ran the distance. He was circus through and through, and then his wife Isla was the love of his life and his right hand. They had one daughter, and then their daughter had two daughters. Those two daughters, one of them, she was my college roommate. He was larger than life, and she was quiet and just a graceful woman. They were polar opposites, but I think that's why it worked. He had had his funeral planned before he ever died. He was full of character, and he absolutely loved the circus, and he absolutely loved his elephants. He actually passed away in the same town that he saw his first circus. They always had a tented show. At one time, they were their largest tented circus. It was 5 rings. Hugo does have the nickname Circus City, USA, because at one time there were multiple circuses here, but really the Millers were the first push towards that, yeah.
Everybody else gravitated after
Gravitated,
that.
yes. Yes, and so there were quite a few. They had Carson and Barnes Circus, they had Kelly Miller Circus. She's clearly shown us she is an artist, and she is in every right. She is also a musician as well. Del Rita's instrument of choice is a harmonica, so we're going to see what song or what tune she likes to play today.
All right, play a song, Rita. Play the song, Rita. Come on now, Rita. Play the song. Play the song. Come on now. You do better than that. You got it. Come on now. Play a good song, huh? Country music today? Is that what we're doing? Huh? Rita? All right.
Good job. Round of applause for that.
And that brings us to the reason there is an elephant sanctuary named the Endangered Ark in the southeastern Oklahoma town of Hugo.
And even why we are sitting in an arena watching an elephant named Del Rita perform her tricks.
It's an answer to a very serious question. What do you do with a bunch of circus elephants when the circus goes away, as most of them now have?
Well, the Millers loved their elephant so much that they planned ahead for that.
What about Endangered Ark?
So the Endangered Ark was not an afterthought. It was actually a before-thought. Since it was started in 1993, the Millers, he got to, like I said, he planned his funeral, and he also planned for his elephants because they were like his family. So they both knew that they were going to live longer than the Millers. The idea was they're going to stop working someday and they're going to be retired. And we want to protect their retirement, keep them together, make sure the herd is together. Really, at that point, you're starting to think about conservation and breeding. So they had tons of land. And so they were like, this is for the elephants. We're building new facilities for them. That's going to be their retirement place. And his hope was always that people would still come and see them. So that land was basically gifted to the elephants.
And the reason Del Rita is performing for this audience today, well, the Millers did provide for their elephants, but as we all know, cost for, well, everything just keeps going up. And that includes the mammoth amount of money it takes to take care of an elephant herd.
So now Del Rita entertains the audiences that come to see her, first because she can, and second because the Endangered Ark needs money to care for their elephants.
So they took funds from what they made over the years to give back. At this point, that money dwindles, more of them retire, costs increase. We started doing really small things. We started having tours on the weekends and bring people in to meet, and then the herd grew.
You had to pay the bills to take care of the elephants. You lost your matriarch recently.
We did. Susie had a very long circus career. So at her passing, she was the oldest elephant really in North America at the time. We expected her, of course, to reach her 75th birthday. And so you have to make the conscious decision to think of them first. And that's the case with Susie. It was time that we knew that she didn't have a lot more to give us and we weren't doing right by her. It's a hard decision to make. Of course, it's made along with our vet, but one that had to be made for her. She lived a very long life. She was very strong.
Were there a lot of tears when you lost Susie?
100%. A lot.
How long will you do this?
I guess until I can't do anything else. I guess. I mean, I don't think that there's no time. There's no time. I don't have a timeline because it's just, at this point, all I kind of know.
So the real question remaining for me is, how long can an elephant sanctuary sustain itself? Mm-hmm. And what happens when it can no longer do that?
Yeah, there are lots of questions that come to mind. Not just for this organization, but for hundreds or maybe even thousands of other nonprofits that exist to provide for people or animals that can't provide for themselves.
Karen almost talked more about that, about the pain of losing their matriarch Susie, and about what they hope people will take away from a visit to the Endangered Ark.
I was very sheltered growing up, so I didn't see a lot. My roommate was the complete opposite. She'd been all around the world. She'd seen everything. I was completely captivated by it all because the first time I spent the night overnight at the show, the next morning everything was gone like magic. They set up daily and moved a 5-ring circus. It was like a town and it moved, and for me it was magic. I didn't grow up saying, oh, I want an elephant, but now it's like I can't even not think about elephants.
What's the association with Hugo and
Yeah, how
elephants?
did all this end up in Hugo, Oklahoma?
Hugo is a small city. It has a big heart. There's some really good people here. There really are.
Are there still a lot of ex-circus people?
There are some that have just planted roots here that have retired and moved on to other jobs. There's people that work at the doctor's offices and Walmart and that have all worked for circuses. I mean, you probably wouldn't hit a business here without someone with circus roots, honestly.
That's why it's called Circus City.
Circus City. We depend on visitors, very generous people that are great with us. And we always say it's not always about money, it's about tangible items too. It's about lending your time. All those things come back. It takes a different kind of work ethic. You can't be quote unquote lazy. You really have to be willing to give the time because there's not really punching a clock. You might punch it out, but you might have to come back. You just never know from day to day.
Tell us about the elephants themselves. Do they have personalities?
They definitely do. Very strong personalities. And when we're talking about the females, it is like a high school society. They have cliques, they have personalities.
Really?
Some of them, get along with other ones. And that's just how it is. The Millers over the years acquired their elephants in different ways. In the 70s, there was a law when they went on the endangered species list, they couldn't be exported or imported. So some of the last that were really imported were from industries like in Asia where they were excess, or the logging industry when it was outlawed. You know, a lot of elephants ended up here basically without a place to go. And at the time, Mr. Miller acquired quite a bit of them.
If the idea is to care for and take care of the elephants, why do we breed?
Because Asian elephants are critically endangered. So we have less than 400 in the United States, and we're not getting more. So there is a big push. And at this point, if you have them and you're able to breed, it's kind of a responsibility at this point.
To keep the species alive.
To keep them alive and hope that our generations will see them as well.
What are the numbers for the Asian elephants and the African elephants worldwide?
Worldwide, Africans are about 400 plus thousand, and then Asians are less than 40,000.
Less than
1/10.
40, that's worldwide, yes.
For people who don't know, tell us the difference between the African elephant and the Asian elephant.
There's a lot, a lot of differences. For the most part, most of them are either going to be evolutionary or it's going to be environmental differences. So depending on their climate, even the biggest thing is the ears, and they basically are their built-in air conditioning, so they can flap their ears. So the Africans have the huge ears
That looks like Africa.
Exactly.
So what happens to the elephants that are born here?
They stay here at the Ark, and this becomes their home.
They don't know any different. This is
They don't
the
know
only
any
thing they've
different.
known.
And what a lot of people don't understand is elephants that have been under human contact and have depended on humans need to stay in that same situation. And that's not something you want to hold against the elephants, and understand that, yes, there can be elephants in the wild, but an elephant here that is used to human contact does not survive in the wild. It's not that easy to say, I'm going to release them. They can't be released. They don't really understand that life. And that's not something to hold against them, but to help them have the best life they can. The Houston Zoo developed a great vaccine for herpes virus that affects elephants. All those things are being done because you can interact with elephants and learn more. And the more we interact with them, the more we learn, the more we can save them. And a vaccine that can be used worldwide can be used everywhere. So a lot of times I say that I don't work with the elephants, I work for the elephants, because I do feel that I'm their, I'm their secretary.
spokesperson.
Yes, I guess so. Working for them. And that's sometimes some of the hardest things to make people understand, that even our staff, they probably get to love on them less than some of the people that come in to visit, because they get to do the fun stuff. But understanding the true idea behind conservation and taking care of them is working for them.
Do the people who work at this foundation like the elephants, and do the elephants like them back?
Yes, they do. You would not work for them unless you do, because they are a lot of work and it is tough.
I had a person at the Brownsville Zoo in Texas tell me that she looked at animals that live in zoos and in protected environments as ambassadors from that species, from wherever they are in the world, to humans.
Correct.
Is that an accurate description?
That is very accurate, especially here. Because you don't really get a connection to until you see them up close, and that's just how it is. You can see videos and movies, but it's not until you're actually right on an actual creature, any elephant, any animal, you really get that connection. So 100%. That is a great way to describe it. They are ambassadors. And ambassadors because they're helping us learn here. And elephants are involved in cancer research and so many other things. They're pretty healthy animals, and so there's a lot you can learn from them.
What do you want people to take away after they've been here?
So many things. Number one, truly appreciate the species. Truly appreciate elephants. I also want them to appreciate like the work and the heart that goes in here, because we're a very small staff. We are not a staff of business people or anything like that. I want people to understand that we have a passion here and our mission's important, but most important to think about endangered animals on a whole, getting involved and helping. And because we are a nonprofit, also understanding what it's like to give back. Maybe you could have spent your dollars at McDonald's or whatever, but when you spend it here, it goes back to something else.
You lost your matriarch recently.
We did.
Tell us about her.
Susie had a very long circus career. So at her passing, she was the oldest elephant really in North America at the time. We expected her, of course, to reach her 75th birthday. And so you have to make the conscious decision to, think of them first. And that's the case with Susie. It was time that we knew that she didn't have a lot more to give us, and we weren't doing right by her. It's a hard decision to make. Of course, it's made along with our vet as well, but one that had to be made for her. She lived a very long life. She was very strong. It still came as a surprise, because once she started not doing well, we knew it was time. So
you were even mulching her food and things
Yes.
like that in the final days.
At that age, she's on her last set of teeth, so they basically don't really make contact, so you make sure it's just things that she can eat easily. We had raised money a few years ago to build an extension off the barn for her, so she had her own little bachelorette pad. She had her own little sprinkler system. She was a queen, and she was treated as such. So yes, we did a lot of things to make sure that she was always comfortable and taken care of. We brought in sand all the time. It's easier to get up and down the big sand pile. But she was still the queen, and she knew it. She had a strong personality, for sure. And she was still the boss. Well, she's given her life and been an ambassador. She's been loved. She's so many people. I mean, she's famous. We drive past just looking at her empty area. The elephants are walking history. Or if private organizations like this can't, make it, it says a lot for a lot of other places too. There's so many great things that you can visit and do that are just trying to spread awareness. And if we don't dive into the nonprofits and places like that, they will go away. Also, our elephants are amazing, and they are all over the country. But like I said, they've been ambassadors.
At the end of the day, you don't clock out, but
Correct.
You've had your tours, you've taken care of the elephants, and you go home.
It's not really my job, it's more of my life. I spend more time at my job probably than I do physically at home. So really this is my home. I mean, they both are.
What do you want people to know that you need and the elephants need?
When I talk about, it's not just about financial things, it is tangible things. We use a lot of things that we repurpose And so, believe it or not, you might think something is useless to you, but it's something that we could really use. Obviously, funds and donations, but mostly come and visit. Understand that you can do so many things here. We're like Disneyland for elephants. So you can come and have ceremonies and you name it, we'll do it as far as it's involved with the elephants, and just spread the word. You know, we don't have big marketing budgets, so let people know about us mainly and come see for yourself and come visit. Because visitors are our backbone really now. They
And
really
people
are.
can come and stay.
People can stay at cabins here, and like I said, we have our summer camps.
You went to TCU in Fort
Right.
Worth, Texas. What was your major?
It was, it was originally biology, but I did not think I'd actually be working with animals specifically. You know, I was thinking in the medical field, and then I moved around, and then I could, you know, and I thought about history, and then I'd gone too long, and I just had to stick with it. But it's like, even though it's that, it didn't, it's like it's helpful, you know, when I'm teaching, you know, at summer camp, but it wasn't the avenue. But it's weird. It's the broken road, you know. That's the broken road. You don't know how it's going to wind. And mine winded big time. Big time.
You didn't go in and say, I want to major in biology and specialize in Asian elephants.
No, not even close.
And we want to thank you for joining us for this episode of On the Road with Kelly and Bob. And we want to give a shout out to our longtime sponsor, the good people at Mueller Metal Roofs and Buildings, and to our friends and colleagues right here at the Odyssey Network.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook and Instagram and follow along behind the scenes on our YouTube page. Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of On the Road with Kelly and Bob. Download that free Odyssey app. Listen anytime, anywhere.